Hey, what's up, guys? Callie C here for another book summary of Killing Sacred Cows. Below in the resources, you're going to have the Killing Sacred Cows PDF book, which is great, but I always recommend the audio as well. That's just what I love, but whatever floats your boat. I'm going to go over the 12 key points of this book, of a summary, so you can read it yourself. And this book is foundational. This book was amazing. It really changed my paradigm. Now, I don't say that about very many books. There's some books out there that I say, oh, it's a good book. But there's some books I'm like, this changed my life. This literally changed my paradigm. Now, if you don't know what a paradigm is, I'll just explain what I think a paradigm is. It's a way of thinking, a way of life that it totally shifts your foundation and crushes the belief system that you have and totally challenges it and it replaces it with a newer belief system. Now, my paradigm was completely shifted and killed in a good way because this book, now what a sacred cow is a weird name, right? But a sacred cow is another name for a myth. And specifically about this book is it's a financial myth. It's killing the financial myths of the world, and it's by Garrett Gunderson. Garrett Gunderson is a fantastic author, fantastic person, and a lot of us here in the community have met him, and it's just been awesome to see this man just impact my life and other people's lives around us. But what I want to talk about is these financial myths in the book, which again, you got to read the book yourself. My personal story real quick before I get into these different points is when I was reading this, it kind of confirmed what I already knew. I had these little skeptical questions about wealth creation and about these myths that we subtly are taught in a society, and I just questioned them, but I didn't have like any answers until I read this book, and it was like, I knew it, and it challenges everything. So like, let's go into that, because this subscribes, I mean, this wealth and finances is completely, to each their own. It's tomato. Like, some people love orange, some people love gray. Like, it's not like a perfect fit for everybody, but Garrett Gunderson, I really subscribe to his belief system or his wealth system. I take a little bit of, Robert Kiyosaki, a little bit of Grant Cardone, a little bit of Dave Ramsey, Garrett Gunderson, and I like to combine, but I would say that I align a lot, really closely with Garrett Gunderson, like a lot. He touches on a lot of subjects that just really make sense and resonate with me. And for example, let's go through these 12 points. So the first things is most financial decisions that people make, they do it out of fear. And what I've learned coming from a sales background is you have to create a sense of urgency and fear. And so when it comes to your finances, like, you shouldn't be making decisions out of fear. I mean, it's an emotional thing, and we all are emotional creatures, don't get me wrong, but we should be looking for ways to think out of abundance and not out of lack. And Garrett Gunderson is huge on that. And I think a lot of people make financial decisions for the wrong reasons, like fear of missing out. Maybe they play too much defense. They're just super scared, so they play super safely. And he challenges that by being more risky. Now, he also talks about something else, which is called, like a lot of people think that more risk equals more reward. I want to say that is a huge myth that he tackles in this book. People think that, okay, if I want to have more reward, I got to take more risk. He completely trashes that idea, that myth, by saying that you can have more reward with less risk if you actually are smart enough to understand the investment. And the way that you can de-risk that investment is by knowledge. Because he says that one of the most important things is you. Like, you are the most important asset when it comes to producing value. Like, you are your greatest value proposition. That's what he says. So that's why I always recommend, like, investing into your brain, because that is the most important thing. Because it's not like, oh, that's a good investment, that's a bad investment. There is no such thing. It all comes down to how good are you at turning something that could be bad into a good investment, or recognizing a good investment or a bad investment. It's you. So you can blame the market and think, oh, it's a bad time to invest, or et cetera, or you can just subscribe to the idea that, look, I'm the one who creates a good deal in a bad market, or I create a good deal from a bad deal. I'm the one that lowers the risk because I'm smart, and I'm the one that understands this asset class. So to de-risk yourself, you want to lower your risk and have more reward, you have to work on your brain. Now, here's another one, and it's called savings, and he talks about how saving alone does not create wealth, and it's true. You can only save so much, and you can only lower your expenses so much before you're kind of capped. And at that point, you need to start using leverage. You do. And he does talk about leverage. He does talk about debt, which there's a very, very smart way to use it and a very bad way to use it. Savings are great, but it's still scarcity, right? At the end of the day, you can only save so much in your lifetime, and you can only lower your expenses so much. So at some point, you have to think bigger and use leverage, and you can use it in a bad way that can kill you, or you can use it in a good way that can help you. And I think the more you understand debt and the more you study how it can hurt you or help you, that's a whole nother thing. But knowledge is huge, and we can talk about that a little bit too, which kind of comes down to this. But illiteracy is what kills people. Illiteracy and not understanding financial literacy is what destroys people, because if you don't have knowledge, then you have dependence. And the whole point of having more knowledge is becoming independent and being confident in yourself and your ability to create wealth. Because here's another thing that I knew, but no one's going to save you. I mean, the whole idea of retirement accounts, I mean, look, we'll get into this a little bit. You can use retirement accounts, but it's more about the philosophy. Retirement in the future is such a terrible idea. Let me explain. There's a quote, and I don't know who said it, but it's like, how dare you, how ignorant are you to think that you're even going to survive and live into your later years? You are so prideful to think that you are even going to survive into your older years. So what's the point of saving and accumulating? Which, by the way, he talks about this, which goes into the accumulation theory. And the accumulation theory is what everyone subscribes to without you thinking or challenging it. People just think this is what we do. We just accumulate for the future. We're getting our little nest eggs or little nuts for the future. But again, what happens if you do die? And when you live now and you focus on creating value for the people now, guess what? Your cash flow increases. And when it increases, your expenses can also be increased. Therefore, you can live an abundant life. Because who doesn't want to have cash to just spend? Let's be real. It's so honorable to just save money for your future. Okay, great. Fantastic. You can do both when your income is increased. But let's address the pink elephant in the room. We all want to live with like a great life now, not just when we're old. We can have cash now. We can live for the future and live now by doing that. And that is the abundant theory, which go in the book. He calls it something else, but I would say more of the abundant cash flow theory. When you have cash flow, you're focusing on value, your money increases, your savings for the future increase, your expenses can go up, and you're free from the rat race. We always talk about that in all of the other book summaries and whatnot, escaping the rat race, which is when your expenses, your cash flow gets higher or the same of your expenses, therefore you're free and you can think abundantly. And he's so good with just random things. He talks about insurance, whole life insurance policies, like how to lower your insurance, increase your insurance. Because when you have proper insurance, a weight is lifted off your shoulders, and you can be free as well. Because you know, like, hey, my family's taken care of, I'm taken care of. Like, imagine if you were driving a car and it didn't have insurance. And I've done it before. Maybe some of you guys have not done that, but I've done it where I've driven a car for a day or two and with no insurance. It's just anxiety, because what if something happens? What if? A lot of people are ignorant, including myself, I used to be, on insurance. But when you are open to the idea of like, look, like things can happen, it's kind of scary. So he talks about insurance and how you want to be protected. And you can be overprotected, but how to readjust your insurance, be protected so you can be more productive, focus on creating value, because now you have some weights lifted off your shoulder. Great book, guys, I'm telling you. Now let's go through the next couple things here. He talks about the difference of liabilities versus assets. Now I'm going to post something down below where you can see like a chart and definitions of what I consider liabilities and assets. But the difference would be, like for example, a vehicle. If you finance a vehicle, it's not an asset. However, he does talk about that. He says, look, there's a lot of people that shame you for going into debt to do something like that. But we live in a society where we kind of need a car. And so you can totally be like, nah, I want to pay my car's cash, or I don't even want to have a car. I'll just Uber or whatever, or I'll just walk. But in reality, having a car gives you that sense of freedom that can allow you to make more income. And you would earn more with the car than without it. So I would say that's a justifiable way of getting into debt. However, of course you want to avoid it. And I would say an asset is to have a debt, an asset paid off, no debt, and it accumulates equity and also cash flow. But we'll talk about that later, and I'll post a little thing below. So he talks about that too. And I would say the last thing that he talks about that is important is time. Time is the one thing we cannot get back. Now, this is interesting. There was an interview, not in this book, but with Bill Gates, and they asked him, would you trade all of your wealth to be 10 years younger? And he said, no, he wouldn't. And then they said, what about 20 years? And he said, yes. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us that you can always earn money. Like, he could do a lot in 20 years and earn his wealth back. Heck, 10 years, 5 years. But it would be beautiful to be able to buy your health back and your youth back, but that just doesn't exist. So when you're doing this accumulation method and you're just saving for retirement, you don't know if you're going to live that far, and you're trading time. Instead, you want to trade value for cash, which buys you time. You can be free. And then that allows you to have more time, enjoy yourself on earth. Let's address the pink elephant in the room. Having more cash now when you're young is way more enjoyable than when you're 60, 70, 80, 90, however old, to enjoy your cash. People do it, and you should be able to enjoy yourself no matter what, but why wait? So take a look at this book, guys. Call Lucy out. And welcome to the book summary. And there are more book summaries and more deeper discussions in the school community. So make sure to drop a comment, join the school community if you're not in it, and we will see you on the next one.
Came out April of 2007, and the official published version came out August of 2008. What a crazy time. We're in the middle of the Great Recession, this economic meltdown. And here, embrace this and grow. The case studies in this book are phenomenal. They're people that I've been able to watch for a long period of time have more sustainable success and wealth because they adopt principles and they avoid myths. Again, thanks for investing in yourself. We resources for defeating myths. This step-by-step formula and workbook help you identify myths and become kill these sacred cows. It shows you how to identify and overcome the subtle myths, lies, and fallacies about money that create guilt and risk and financial harm. Once you do, you'll have permission to succeed. You'll make better financial choices, create more value, and be more productive. You'll transform your relationship with money and achieve financial freedom more quickly than you ever thought possible. You'll be empowered to live your richest life now, instead of having to scrimp, save, or sacrifice for 30 years to get there. Much of what I discuss may challenge some of your most cherished beliefs and even core assumptions. If so, that's great. If all this book did was reinforce everything you already knew, it wouldn't really be worth listening to, or wouldn't have been worth me writing.